Well, every time I hear that, I'm like, what a blatant lie. America, be true to what you said on paper, right? And then we keep on, it must have been written with invisible ink. Good morning. Welcome back to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison. In studio with my brothers from another, the co-hosts of At the Round Table with MAMLEO. My brothers, you know, we got to say, and if you want to be a part of this broadcast, you have to shave your head first and foremost, right?
That's right. That's
a prerequisite.
Yeah, prerequisite. Right. Conversating at
That's
this
why
table.
Jamal won't come in here. Got the shears like sheep, right? Brother Rhodes here, the Rhodes Scholar is here with us. Good morning, Brother Rhodes.
Good morning.
And the doctor is over there, but he is on his game as usual. But this morning, boy, he is not. You don't need health insurance with the doctor. He is going to give you a free checkup from the neck up. And
yes, sir.
Pastor Howes is here with us as usual, engineering, holding it down, advertising. For matter of fact, I have your T-shirt. I just have to go grab it for you, sir. So I have to check your sweatshirt because it's getting a little chilly, so hopefully I can finagle your sweatshirt as well. You're the best advertiser. You better than Ackerley.
Well, he has it going. What is that? The
Inspiring today's youth.
Young adults.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you. ITY.
Yes.
So we want to thank our sponsor, the Money Store. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. Also want to thank Cruz Construction for their continued sponsorship here as well as the MAMLEO membership. And also reminders to MAMLEO members, the meeting for today at MAMLEO has been postponed until next Saturday, the 11th at 12 noon. So again, today's meeting will not be held. It will be held next Saturday, October 11th at noon at MAMLEO headquarters, and I believe also by Zoom, but you should get a notification as to whether it's both or one. Also, just want to remind folks, there is an upcoming hearing this Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at the Gardner Auditorium and virtual at the state. It is regarding health insurance here in the state of Massachusetts. Like I said, it's too late to register to testify, but you can watch and weigh in as well. Like I said, that's going to be this upcoming Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 from 10:30 a.m. the Gardner Auditorium and virtual. And if you want to log into that, it's https://MALEGISLATURE.gov/. That's https://MALEGISLATURE.gov/ if you want to log into that. And that's a little mouthful there.
That's MA, meaning Massachusetts legislation.gov.
Oh, that
the legislature.
They don't spell it out
Yeah,
like that.
legislature.
Okay.
.gov.
They don't. They got it all jumbled up there.
Yeah, because it's MA legislature.
Right. It's like a puzzle there. So I know you had an announcement you wanted to
yeah. Today is Super Saturday, and it's for family financial planning, and it's a business opportunity for people looking to become self-sufficient and financially free. And it's going to be at the Crown Plaza in Boston. It's actually in Woburn. I know they say Boston in the title, I don't know why, but it's going to be in Woburn, and that's 50 Middlesex Canal Park Road, and that's in Woburn, Mass. And the registration's from 9:30 to 10, and the business planning and the financial opportunity event starts from 10 to 11:30. And again, it's how do they say dress business casual business casual.
Okay,
yeah.
And there will be refreshments because that'll get folks in there.
I can't guarantee they're gonna be refreshments. Okay,
well, just tell them anyways.
They can break
there's gonna be water there. Bring a cup.
All right.
There's gonna be refreshing water that's going
said bring a cup.
All right. Let's grab a caller. Good morning.
Oh man.
Caller. Are you there, caller?
Hello.
Hello.
Larry, Frank Baker.
Oh, Frank Baker. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. Welcome back to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. We saw the outcome. I know Frank Baker, for those who don't know, was a former city council. I believe was District 3. District 3. Took a little break. Looked at it from the outside. Felt like you could help more by being back on the inside. And this time you're running for at large at the city council here in the city of Boston. and the primaries, I believe you were number 5 on the top 8 that move on. You were the top 5. It was very close, by a few thousand votes. Probably one of the one of the competitive races was at-large council. The rest of them were sleepers. And now you're heading into the general election, and I know people are looking to to decide on who they want, and because it now narrows down to the top 4 vote getters for November 4th. Is that the date of the election again?
Yes, November 4th.
Tuesday, November 4th. So we'll let you tell folks what your plan is and why they should come out and vote for you. I see you just got a really big endorsement too, if I'm not mistaken. I did read that former Mayor Marty Walsh has endorsed your candidacy.
Yeah, Marty and I have been friends for years. Went to the same grammar school. We were actually, altar servers together. Yes, I was an altar server, and hung out same neighborhood, same teen center. So Marty and I have been friends for years. So that was very much a friendship thing. Wasn't a difficult, I think, task to him. We've been attached politically at the hip for,
yeah. So Frank,
30 years probably.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So Frank, we've been talking, I don't know if you listened to the prior hour, we were talking about how, politics in this country are just really horrific, but they're not much better here in the city. And I'm not sure what it is with folks who think this is somewhat of I don't say a game, but their lack of interest. I guess they've just felt like their vote isn't going to change anything. But we see that it really has a meaning, and it has consequences, right? But also here at the city level, because people aren't paying attention, and I know you are, that you've been a check and balance on this administration during your time there, but not just this administration, the previous ones as well. But the city of Boston is about to run into some real tough financial situations, and this COVID money has dried up. There's not, property taxes have gone up here in the city of Boston. People may be getting ready to be hit with a huge increase in what they pay in health insurance. So who they elect to help steer the government here in the city is going to be important in November.
Yeah, Larry, you're exactly right. And that's, one of the big reasons why, I wanted to get back on the body. To bring some balance back there, we just had 2 in 10 people elect this mayor, and now running unopposed. 2 in 10 people decided to vote in this last election. That's pretty sad, And for me, I've got to play the game, Larry. You know what I'm saying? I can sit and yell at the TV all you want, but unless you're in there playing the game, then you don't have a say. So I think I have a good balanced voice. I'm independent. I make up my own decisions. Like, to talk about taxes, that tax scheme that went up to the State House was approved without even real numbers. Like, the city council did not even look at what the numbers were. And you said it yourself. We're heading into real financial difficulty in the next couple of years, and if we're not tightening our our belts, then it's gonna get bad for the city. When the last time that we changed the tax structure was under Menino, I think it was in 2001, 2002. Now, if you looked at his budgets previous, the 2 years before, the 2 years after, like, his budgets were 0% increases, 1% increases, level funding, because how are you going to ask someone for consideration and you're not doing your part? Right. And it's things like that if the council isn't doing their due diligence, we need someone there to say, hey, hold on a second, let's look at this here, and I'm prepared to do that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Everyone has to share in the pain. I think people don't mind, but when they're still seeing increases in spending and no decrease, and yet their property taxes. So can you just explain a little bit more, Frank? Because I think a lot of people aren't familiar with what the legislation that just went up to the State House and how that's going to impact them as far as their taxes.
Well, so we have a tax structure that is it's 175 to 100. So basically, on $1,000 per value in your property, your residential, you'll pay $100 per 1,000, and the Commercial will pay $175. So to change that structure, you need to go through the legislature, and the way it was floated was, we'll have the downtown pay $200 now per 1,000, and then that will save the residential properties in the neighborhoods. Not necessarily the truth, because what happened, like if you unfairly tax commercial, then your commercial base leaves. We remember the 70s and 80s in Boston. Downtown was empty, and the reality is this: the residential, the commercial in downtown is taking a nosedive because we're not in there working. Everybody's on Zoom. Everybody's hybrid. But the property taxes, including the commercial in places like Dorchester, Roxbury, South Boston, they continue to go up. So that mom and pop shop, that pizza place, you're getting hit with extreme tax bills. And now that will cause those pizza places, those little corner stores, to say, I can't afford to do business on Dorchester Ave or on Blue Hill Ave anymore. And that's that levers of government. You pull one, there's going to be a reaction on the other side, and that's going to be that reaction if we go into this tax scheme, and I call it a scheme, without our eyes wide open.
Right.
And I'd be in favor of doing a change in the tax rate if we were fiscally responsible. I mean, in 3 years, the budget went up $1 billion in operating.
Wow,
$1 billion
in 3 years, $1 billion. Wow, good.
$1 billion. That probably took Menino 12 years to go up $1 billion. And then on top of that, we had the infusion of the ESSA money, which was school money, and the opera money of over $2.5 billion that was injected in there that we used. And because I was on the body at this point when the money was going through there, I put up a stink, but I wasn't one of the cool kids at the table back then, so they didn't listen to what I was saying. And we added FTEs, full-time employees. We added a whole lot of money to employee salaries. And we spent money on things that were recurring costs, and the legislation said you're allowed to spend this on one-time expenditures, like help to build a library, help to build. I was trying to get money for the field house in Columbia Point, which sits in between 3 housing developments. Services something like 5,000 kids under 18. I couldn't get a single dime from the city. We had billions of dollars. They would not give me a dime to build for a field house that would be.
How about the People's Academy as well, right? Would have been better served,
People's
right?
Academy. I think we got a little bit of money for them. That was like they threw us a scrap to keep us quiet there, but not enough. That was going to be.
So let me just unpack what you're saying, because I think there's a couple of things here. What you're saying is that this was supposed to be spent basically on one-time expenditures because this money would not be continuing to flow through there, and they were using it on things that will continue to cost the city. They didn't negotiate this as a one-time thing, so that means that the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for what they've negotiated, which is not level funded every year. It was a one-off. That's why I thought they did a lot of wasteful spending with the COVID on things that really weren't needed, and it should have been directed to for tutoring and things that kids really needed, rather than air conditioning for windows in the schools, where the schools are closed predominantly for the summer. And if you're a kid in school during the summer, you deserve to sweat. But the other thing, the other thing that I think people aren't paying enough attention to when it comes to the taxes, Frank, is that this tax was almost a double tax because the property values were reassessed and then taxed, right? So if you're a retired person and you've been living in your home in Dorchester or Roxbury and you bought it for $100,000 and now it's assessed at $900,000, and you're paying taxes is more than what your mortgage used to be, and people on a fixed income, you go from a minimal tax here in Boston has a residency exemption. But that still doesn't help you with the taxes that are levied. I own properties here in Boston, and I tell you, because I have no choice but to pass it on to my tenants. I mean, it just becomes unbearable, right? I mean, to have to put this, when you're seeing, the budget for the schools go up 1.4, but no increase in the learning in the education there.
Yeah, and a decrease in enrollment. We're down. We're down to about 45,000 students.
And we're closing buildings.
When I first started on the council, right. we were at 65,000. Right. We're down a whole lot. And you had mentioned assessments, Larry. That's the key there. That's something that we in the city have control of. We don't need to go in and do these huge assessments. If we want to really help people out, let's go easy on their assessments. And those assessments, the property values continued to go up in places like Roxbury and Dorchester. Right. So our taxes went through the roof.
Yeah, South Boston areas got hit hard. Right? No, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, very hard.
And they were already high because I think people, Frank, don't understand is that, okay, if I'm buying a house today and I know I'm paying $1 million for it, then I know my taxes are going to be based on that. But if I bought a house for $100,000 and my taxes jump up to the $1 million taxes because of the building next door to me is selling for that, how's that fair? How does that work? I mean,
yeah, I guess that's the system there. The system there, Larry. Life isn't fair, I guess. But we can go in and manage those assessments. I think that just because the building next door went for $1 million, and this family home that people have been living in for 40 years, that doesn't mean that building's worth $1 million. We can go in there as assessors and say, okay, go up a little bit, go up incrementally.
What did you pay? Right, you didn't pay $1 million for it. That's what I'm saying. Is that if I paid $1 million for it, I know I'm pacing it based on what I spent. But if I didn't pay that or nowhere near that, it's and because Frank, honestly, since folks like yourself have left and others, it's even people had the difference with Councilor Yancey, but I think he was a check and balance on it. It seems like the council isn't a rubber stamp, and now that folks have just given the mayor a clear field, right, that's saying that everything she does, they're okay with it because the mandate that she feels she's gotten from this, and it wasn't a mandate, it was just a lack of voting. I heard a lot of people say, I was waiting for the primary. Well, it's too late. Yeah. I mean, the general election, it's too late for that. So
voter apathy, Larry. And you get fed sound bites. The world is sound bites now. Yeah. And then, You just go to the lowest common denominator. Yeah. Oh, we're going to save you in your property taxes. Help us put pressure on the Senate because they're not letting us pass this tax bill that is going to save you. It's not going to save you. The taxes going up. They've already determined where they're going up, how they're going up, right. And this is just a way to change the tax rate. And when you change that tax rate, that's precedent setting. So. Right. That will now start happening all around the state. Oh, that Boston did it. Let's go and try and do that now. And right. and we need a business climate that is friendly to business, right. Because business drives a lot of what we do.
Exactly.
The business dollars.
I want to grab this call for you, so maybe you can have. Yeah. I'm sure it's one of the from Boston, the area, a potential vote. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Good morning. I have a question for Frank Baker.
Okay.
And my question is, since the mayor knows and the city councilors knows the existence of T. Michael Thomas as the People's Academy, why is it, I'm asking for your opinion, why is it that the mayor and the city councilors are so scared of giving this man who is teaching black and brown people a trade so they can have a nice, sustainable, middle-class lifestyle instead of just going to college or going to the bar public schools, so?
Well, just before you answer that, Frank, I think also because what I've been watching as well is that a lot of cities around the country are moving towards vocation, right? Because not all of our kids are, like you said, a lot of these kids are dropping out because they can't read and write. But the vocation is a life-changing and also brings them into the middle class. The trades don't seem to be declining as much as AI is going to be taking over a lot of these other jobs that you go to college to get. Those are usually not hands-on, that AI is going to be replacing them. I saw something the other day when they just had an AI generated actress in the movie, and the actress said, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Yeah. We're in trouble." So,
yeah, that's all correct. And back to T. Michael, it's political will. It's political will, and we're going in the city to not only have to give T. Michael financial support, but also supports in nearly everything that program all the way through. And maybe T. Michael doesn't fit, like I wasn't one of the cool kids at the table. Yeah. Maybe they don't look at him as one of the cool kids at the table. But the reality is he's got a good idea, and we should, as a city, wrap around him and help him. Larry, you talked about AI. AI is coming at us like a freight train.
You ain't lying.
And I sat on the jobs trust for I think 6 years, and I watched us take money that came in from commercial development and break it up into increments that were totally useless. Would send 10,000 of this program, 25,000 of this program, and I would always consistently say, "Why are we doing this? Why aren't we building brick and mortar places for kids to come into, young people to come into, so we can train them?" Because job training now is as much about almost what we had in our homes, home training. Yeah. You get to your work, you acknowledge people, you get there on time, you acknowledge people. How are you today? Your boss is your boss. Whatever the boss says, they're trying to get their job done. And we have to start putting tools in young people's hands. I don't want to say that it's without places to gather, we're not going to be able to get there. Like job training, okay, come in, sit on that computer and tell me everything about you that we need to know to look on a piece of paper, instead of engaging with someone eye to eye, face to face. We're trying to get away from that personal contact thing, and it's a dangerous road to go down. So
no, you're right.
For me, T. Michael's spot. There's multiple places, multiple areas that we could be doing training. Right. That's over and above high school areas. That, like, if you go over to Northern Ireland or over to England and places like that, they have. And I worked on something like this with Council Flaherty. It was the 13th year to bring kids in after their high school, don't want to go to college. Like myself, I didn't go to college. I went to a trade school. To put them on pathways, show them what an electrician does, show them what a plumber does, show them what a police officer does, show them what these different trades do. I was actually, one of my achievements that I'm very proud of is down at the old Boston Globe site. That when the developers came in, they told me how bright and shiny the building was going to be. We're going to do all lab space. I said, that's great, but it doesn't do anything for my neighborhoods, for my people, the kids in Fields Corner, the kids on Bowden Street. I said, I want job training in here into the biotech industry. We now have BioVersity, which is training 20 kids every 60 days into the entry-level jobs in the biotech industry. Is it perfect? Probably not.
But it's a step in the right direction.
We're at least trying. Yes, a step in the right direction.
Right.
Because that's one of these new jobs that we don't know. I know what a plumber and an electrician does. Right. I don't know what a lab technician does.
But also, Frank, to that point, AI can't replace those folks, right? No matter how much there's certain jobs that are secure, right? And the trades are pretty secure because AI can assist, but it cannot replace. Assembly line jobs back in the days, a lot of people worked at Gillette and General Motors and Polaroid, places like that. You needed more hands-on human beings. All of those, we've solved the automation and the growth from that. But Pastor Hobbs had something he wanted to interject into this conversation, so I'm going to let him weigh in. Good.
Thank you.
Pastor, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Awesome. So the whole conversation about re-entry and about the building and trades, I had Councilor Flaherty on yesterday, and we talked about T. Michael and the People's Academy.
Councilor Flaherty was on yesterday?
He was on my broadcast, yes. He was my guest on Healing Our Land's broadcast.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. And so we were talking about reentry, and I've invited him, all of the people who are running for office, the at-large candidates, as well as the candidates who are running for office, to come behind the wall and to be able to go with us unit to unit to talk to returning citizens, and to be able, because again, only 4 are going to go through, so particularly with the at-large city council. So I guess I'm extending the invitation to you now, live here on the air, as well as on Council Flaherty. He is coming. He's committed to coming. And even people who are not being challenged, but people who are elected officials and people who are running for elected office, to go behind the wall, unit to unit, so that you can have organic conversations with those who can cast a ballot, to be able to talk about programming and things you're talking about, programs like this T. Michael's People's Academy, and other programs, Healing Our Land, and other reentry programs that we're trying to train people to build brick and mortar entities that they can house them, they can be in community, offer a resource to the community. As you talk about trades, right? Like we don't have enough of them, where people in the community can come to a restaurant that's run by returning citizens, like the Haley House. Go ahead.
No, I want to get Dr. Bradley's perspective, and I'm Frank. I'll let you answer on the other side. Is you're an academic, you're a professor. You teach at several colleges. We know AI is there, but do you see the need for the conversation we're talking about for vocation as well as in the education? Because we talk about all the time. Every time we have to call someone in the trade to come to our house, wait a minute, they don't pay me as much as I have to pay you, right?
I have friends who are doing extremely well. Doing better than I am, to be honest with you. But one of the things, as I'm listening to the conversation, and I think the caller is right on target here, is that we are training a community of people to do jobs that are no longer here. And so I think that not only do we have to look at, the fact that we're losing students in the city of Boston and other urban. Boston is not unique to this, by the way. Other urban areas are going through the same thing. The same phenomenon, but we need to restructure, redesign what we're training, and vocation should be a part of that. There's no question about it, because everybody's not going to go to college, and everybody are not interested in going to college.
Can't afford it.
Can't afford it. But the fact of the matter is that we're training for an industry that's offshore. And it's just not working. We have shift. America has gone through several shifts in its existence. When we first started, it was agriculturally based. Then there was a shift from agricultural to industrial. Well, the criminology associated with that shift, society had to shift. Now we have shift from industrial to informational, and then from that we're moving into computer everything, including AI. But the education system has not shifted. It shifts from agricultural to industrial, but from industrial to informational, it's not. And so we need to restructure how we're educating our children, so when they get to my level where I'm teaching, they can do the things that they need to do if they desire to be there, or they can go into a trade school like my friend who's a master carpenter who makes a ton of money, and sometimes he says to me, "Won't you come and learn how to swing a hammer as opposed to move a pencil?" But my point here is that we need to restructure the way we educate our children.
And these days, you don't really need to swing a hammer. They got those automatic hammers.
Yeah, they do. I like those guys.
Right, everything power. So, Dicka, I just want to say, Dicka, did he answer your question? Did Frank answer your question for you? Or?
Yes, he did.
Well, no, I.
Good. Good.
Okay, but let me. Pastor Hobbs, he had an offer for me. So Pastor, info@Baker for Boston. If you send me an invite, we'll respond. I'd love to come in and tour what you want me to tour.
But my question to Pastor Hobbs, though, and I'm sorry to interject like this, but when you were talking, I was actually thinking on the side, although it didn't look like it, but actually moving. How many people who are behind the wall at the jail, not the prison? There are two different pieces. Okay. The jail, that's waiting for adjudication, realize that they can vote and they have opportunity to do so.
I mean, to give you a quantitative number, I don't know that I can do that, but I can tell you this. So the House of Correction, which is where we go, the Suffolk County House of Correction, right, as well as the Nashua County Jail, right? And in those two institutions, there are many people who are waiting pre-trial. There are people who are sentenced, serving misdemeanors, who can vote. And so we're in there several times a day, right, every week, consistently with our team of people doing civic education. We have jail-based ambassadors. So we have a whole movement of people whom are being civically engaged and encouraging others to be civically engaged when we can't be there. And we're being really consistent in coming through, building a movement of people whom are voting for the first time, encouraging other people not just to vote, but they're actually having forums talking about concerns and strategies for solutions. And we're working to restore the rights for the 7,700 people in the state of Massachusetts who the rights been stripped from them, who are serving felony convictions that could vote up until 2000.
Because I'm thinking in many cases that's the only opportunity that they have had to be educated on why and how to vote.
Absolutely.
And in addition to that, is the institution providing the resources and the mechanism to actually exercise the right to vote?
Well, we're holding them accountable to do that. So the Suffolk County is a model that we're making more robust, and we're looking to really institutionalize that and then replicate it across the 14 counties in the Commonwealth.
Now, to take that a little farther, wouldn't it be nice? You know, this is a little plug I want to put into the caller's head here. Wouldn't it be nice to have as a requirement to our graduation that our students are registered to vote? As a requirement to graduation, as one of those packages that you have to do as you're getting ready to leave this high school and walk across the station and get that diploma that you're now a registered voter.
It's part of your diploma. Exactly.
As a part of that process.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that?
Because you're required to register for selective service. Yeah. And they do that.
Why can't you register?
Well, I would submit that's good, but in addition, because we know that people who register in, if they're not civically engaged, they don't actually vote.
I got it, but step one got to be taken before
sure,
step two.
Sure.
And that's one side of it. And the other side of it is like, including that whole piece, that academics be created around civic engagement and why you want to do it and what does the counselor does as opposed to the mayor, and what does the legislation does. I had students that do not understand the triad of government. That the fact that you have they don't have it. I mean, I had to yesterday I had to talk about the fact that Louis II that was actually the individual who said, you have to have three equal branches of government in order to actually keep one branch not killing the other. And then you have an arbitrator. We call that the Supreme Court, by the way. But my point is this. This is my point. If we're not educating a body of people as it relates to why you need to vote, now, how can we complain that they're not voting?
Right. No, so
I don't get it.
No, you guys bring up some great points. See, Frank, this is why, we need people like yourself on the council because, you have seemed to be, I travel around and I see that you're engaging people like myself, T. Michael and others, Pat Saab. And same thing with Ed Flynn, right? And even Aaron Murphy, right? And people that they don't look like me, but are willing to have the conversation. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the packaging. You try to support people because we like to see some diversity. But
you make me laugh because when you say this, I remember my mother says, "Do you really care about the color of the wrapping paper or the content in the box?" If the individual is white or black, it's the content of the character I'm worried about.
Let me tell you why I say this and why people need, because right now in this hour, right, we had booked the time for current at-large city councilor Santana, right, to be on this broadcast. We did not hear from him. He did not call and say, "I'm not coming," and not even knowing. Frank Baker reached out and said, "Hey, do you have some time on?" I said, "Yeah, we have time because the counselor that's there didn't show up, didn't even have the courtesy to give us a call, right?" Exactly. And the only reason, in my opinion, why you want to reach out now is because the race is close for that 4th seat. Looking at the numbers, right? And so the fact that Frank Baker is reaching out speaks volumes, and folks should pay attention to people that are paying attention to them. Before we let you go, anything else you wanted to say? Because I wanted to, if your question has been answered by Frank Baker.
Well, all I have to say is when it comes to Michelle Wu, she has done nothing to help the black and brown community economically, and also
she doesn't have
shout out to T. Michael because this is the man who, for a very long time, is educating us and teaching us how to fish. But yes, for some of us, we're still stuck and are stupid.
Yeah. Well,
I can say one thing, man. Democracy is in a sad state of affairs when a person can run uncontested.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. That's big volumes. Yep. So, Frank, how do we, if folks are looking to support your candidacy, and I mean, because I think, I appreciate you a lot, engaging, I should say, not engaging folks who have differences of opinion. We've had differences of opinion when you were in the council, but I always felt like with you and Ed and Aaron, that we could have those conversations and then double back. It didn't make us enemies. Now folks feel like if you're challenging the system, and that's, if you're in an elected position, You don't get to choose. It's just like, Dr. Bradley and I were phone police officers. There are homes that we got multiple calls to the same house, like, oh, Mrs. Jones again, right? We couldn't say, well, you know what? We've been there 10 times. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going, right? We'd be held accountable, like rightfully so. But people get elected and somehow they feel like they don't have to listen to you. And I think even more now, I think this mayor is emboldened that I really don't have to listen. I wasn't listening to you before. But now the mute button is on. The mute button is on.
Just wait.
The mute button is on.
So Larry, a couple things. Yeah. You had mentioned the most important thing for a city councilor to do is to show up, listen, return calls. That's a baseline. If you're not showing up and you think people should just vote for you because of the way you look, then that's a problem. I can't overcome that because I'm never going to be a black man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if you're only voting, that's what Santana says. I'm a black man. Like, okay, what have you done? Mm-hmm. Are you showing up? I'm not a black man, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to listen to you. I'm a Bostonian. Right. Our politics has gone very much national. It's the National Democratic Party has taken over our city, mm-hmm. and it's dragging us down this national pathway when I don't think it's necessarily working out for us as mm-hmm. Bostonians. We as Bostonians have more in common than we do not in common. Mm-hmm. And what we do have in common is I believe that ability to be able to pull the table out, sit on both sides and say, okay, let's hash it out. Yeah. That's what I want to do. You talked about disrespect in politics. That's a big reason why I left last time, is because I said it 3 times. I wasn't one of the cool kids at the table. Yeah. I was attacked in my house. I was, people calling me all these rotten names because of positions that I took, that I believe in. And, it just got bad. I'm looking to go back in there and try and bring some civility in. I'm a gentleman at the end of the day. I know how to treat people. Yeah. I live by a code. It's the golden rule. I live by that. So I'm gonna get in there, show respect, have good conversations, return phone calls, things that when you get arrogant, and that's maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but when we have electeds that are arrogant because of they don't have to work to get their jobs, like I work hard and I care about the city of Boston, and I'm doing this because of that reason, because I care about the city of Boston and its people. I don't want to give up on the city of Boston, but I see some things that are happening in City Hall, lack of communication. Yes. I mean, White Stadium, we still don't know what the transportation plan is. We still don't know what the finances are and the way.
Or the environmental study, Frank. The environment. Boston is very condensed, right? So, I mean, the people talking about, communities of color are affected with asthma. You're talking about having all these buses in on the. We already have enough congestion here in the city of Boston. Yeah. But like I said, Go ahead.
The conversations need to happen. I'm prepared to do that.
But how do they happen, Frank, when we scheduled for Santana to show up today? He didn't show up. So that speaks volumes. And also, maybe he knew this was going to be a hot seat because, he reneged on a support that he gave us initially. And then when the mayor called him, he knew what he was doing was wrong. He continued down that road and supported the mayor's version. I don't want, I want independent. Right. And
you don't, as a city council, you do not work for the mayor. You work for the city of Boston.
We see that in D.C., right? In the city of Boston. Right. The Congress there is working for Donald Trump, not for the people who they represent. And like I told them, Boston is right now at the level, it's no different than Washington D.C. folks. Don't be fooled by the smile.
Yeah. Just on the other side, just on the left side.
Absolutely. So Frank, before we let you go, how can people get in touch with you, or if they want to support your candidacy, and what's the next steps? I know it's important that people turn out because
info at Baker for Boston. We're knocking in 3 different places today. We're knocking in the South End, mm-hmm. in East Boston, and in Mattapan. Yeah. So we're getting out there, trying to get in front of people to ask for your vote. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm true Boston. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I want Boston. I want the mayor to thrive, but right. I want a partner. I don't want
Right.
someone that's going to just dictate.
It's
I need a partner.
Right. It's about
So-
accountability, and I think also and what really concerns me, Frank, the turnout in the primary was low, and now that there's really no mayoral, because we know historically city council races every 2 years they're usually the turnout, and I feel like this is turning into that where people aren't going to show up, and it's important that people show up. You can't say you want to be represented and then you don't represent yourself.
Right,
by voting.
right. Like I said, Larry, 2 in 10 people picked this outcome that just happened.
Wow.
That's dismal. You know what I'm saying? The easier we make it to vote, the less people will get to vote. Like if you go to the places like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, they do the purple link thing on your finger.
Mm-hmm.
They're all voting.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be told how to vote, but they're all voting. So you got to get out. You got to get out and vote the purple finger. Show us the purple finger that you voted. And info at Baker for Boston or 617-269-3000 is the headquarter phone numbers. Election day is going to be big. If anybody wants to help on election day or anything like that, send dear friends cards, or even just go through your phone and tell people that you think I'm good for the city. And Larry, I'm not looking for people to like me or love me, but I'm going to be respectful and I'm going to respect all communities.
Listen, that's the baseline for this. So, Frank, we'd love to have you come on if you can, even just call in that week before the election. That Saturday we'll be here broadcasting live. We'd love to have you if you can, look if you have some room on your schedule to come back in to make your closing argument to folks on why they should consider you for one of their at-large votes. If it's just the one vote, I can tell folks sometimes you just got a bullet vote, and that's for full disclosure. This is why I'm supporting you, because you support the issues and the causes that are near and dear to People's Academy. And at least I know I have someone there like you and Ed and Aaron who will listen, and even Julia. Julia's been a very, who will listen, and that's what people need. Like I said, it's very disappointing that the Santana scheduled to come here to this broadcast today and didn't even have the decency to call or show up. I mean, that's the baseline. That says something about if you're treating it. What are your constituents getting? Because this is where they are. So I can't not put that out there, because I think it's important that people know what they're getting, and then they can vote however they want, but can't say they haven't been informed. So,
yep.
Frank.
Well, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
And
we'll be in
I
touch.
look forward to the email from Pastor Hobbs for an invitation.
Okay. All right. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Thank you.
All right.
Enjoy your day.
You
Bye.
too.
Right.
This is, what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You book. Okay, fine. Things come up in life, but you don't show up. You don't call.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank was not even on our radar. He said, text, hey, do you have any time I can talk to you folks this morning? Well, yeah, we have plenty of time, because our at-large elected official who scheduled time to be here didn't even bother to come or show up.
Well, what's the probability he looked at the books and said, well, why should I go? They're not coming up.
They're what?
They're not coming
out
up.
to vote. Yeah,
They're not voting. I mean, why would I want to talk to them?
Right. Well, because the mayor doesn't have a challenger now, and she supports him because he supports what she wants. So
I mean, look at it another way. I wonder if he actually, in that community that does vote, did he do the same thing to an outlet that reaches out to that community? Well, you think he would not come into, the West Roxbury community or the Brighton communities when there's a vehicle like this speaking to members of that community? He would probably show up because they're known to vote.
And there's a lot of serious issues here in the city of Boston. Like, we discussed, Boston is not immune from the financial hard times that are coming, right? And the only thing they have in their back pocket is raising taxes, right? We've already seen, we'll probably see another increase in the meals tax, which all cities do now, right? Another 0.25% on the meals tax. I'm sure they'll be looking for that to go up. People are looking at, just looking at this on Wednesday, the people are going down to the State House, right, on a hearing on health insurance, health care, right? So people just don't have any more to give, right?
Well, especially when they're not making more. If you're not making more, and you're taxing, and in America, I was just talking to a friend of mine who has recently paid off his mortgage, and I congratulated him. Actually, took him out to dinner as a congratulations. But I said to him, "Do you realize in America you never own your home?"
Right.
He was like, "Oh no, I want." I said, "No.
Wait till you get that tax bill.
Don't pay that tax. Watch what happens.
I just got my tax bills for my properties. They're all due on
Well, because
November.
the crazy thing is in other countries, well, in Haiti, one of the things is it's like once you do buy the house, you pay the mortgage, you don't get taxed on it again.
Yeah.
You actually truly do own it.
So
but that's one of the problems.
That's what I emphasize in America.
Yes.
You never own your home because now you have to pay the mortgage. Is a city.
Well, unless you're incorporated as a town, then
No, unless you bury a body on your property.
Right.
No, that's a Donald Trump move. That's a Donald Trump wife.
Your ex-wife.
Well, actually, that is true. That is true. If you do file the proper paperwork and everything, once you do get that body buried, it is now considered a family, a memorial funeral site.
Yeah.
And then you no longer. Yeah,
They can't tax on it.
They can't tax it. They can't tax the cemetery. That's all it is.
But they still might tax the structure, not the property.
Yes.
If I bury my wife there, first there'll be questions about how she died.
Yeah. No.
Then I'd have to
I'm only kidding.
I'd
But
have to relocate my sprinkler system.
Yeah,
so.
but my point is that you never own it, and you're always going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in some cases, you might want to keep the mortgage because you could at least write off the interest.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
you can kind of think
you
about.
can write off the taxes.
But these days they're taking away that.
Right.
Well, they're trying to.
Yeah.
Well, taking away some of it. They've capped the number,
capping
the amount
it.
of taxes you
Well,
can write off.
Yeah.
617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. You're listening to the Roundtable Family. We've got a few minutes left here. Dr. Rose, I got to keep picking your brain as well, Rose. What's going on here in Boston? Because like I said, I try not to come into Boston much, and I know this immigration issue because I know there are ICE agents running around. Are you hearing from people in the community, particularly I know you're a Haitian brother, in the Haitian community, is there a sentiment that folks are not feeling comfortable?
All right. People that are going to work and going to school, they're still maintaining their activity. But again, there is the apprehension of like, okay, what is going on? Is ICE coming in? And it's in the back of their heads. But to actually say that it stopped them from going to school, church, or work, I can't say that. I mean, in other parts of the country, I'm sure it's happening. Yeah. But right now in Boston, I cannot say I personally know of anyone that's saying, I'm not going to work.
But I can tell you, but based on my appearance, and I'm very proud to carry the skin that I carry. I often I play that cycle in my head.
Yeah.
Because I can see someone, who's looking at me and saying, "Well, that guy can't be here, can't be born here, so we're going to stop him." And I'm actually planning in my head, how will I respond to that?
Right. Speaking of,
I will probably be pretty aggravated, and I will probably throw some things that are not, put it this way. I would make an effort to stay Christian and stay safe.
Okay.
That's what I would try to do.
Speaking of, a dear friend of yours is on the line.
Sadiki? Well, actually, but before we bring Sadiki on, I want to make a statement because I want to make sure that I do this.
Yeah.
My wife and I drove through Nubian Square.
Okay.
And my wife was raised not too far from that community. In fact, she went back and forth there for years, going to school and going to the sub shop down there.
Spinelli's.
Spinelli, yeah, exactly, with the subs. Mm-hmm. When I drove her through there, she could not believe the activity. She could not believe the cleanliness. She could not believe how it was built up. She was very impressed, and I said, well, it's interesting that you're here because I don't know this community the way that you know when it was once dubbed as Dudley Station.
Yeah.
She goes, I used to hang out down here, and all this right here this is amazing how they did this. So I wanted to make sure because I didn't want to start this whole debate consume my show with it, but Sadiki gets her accolades as well as mine.
All right, Siddiqui, you got a couple of minutes because we got another caller. We want to hear what you have to say. Go on.
Very quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad the doctor made that observation, and it continues to improve. Of course, we've got to watch out for that gentrification. But let me just say, I just want to call in very quickly because I know there's very little time left. Is that unfortunately, we've got a lot of problems over there at Roxbury Community College, particularly with the Reggie Lewis Center, and so. There's supposed to be a fundraising celebration there this evening, and we basically are calling for a boycott because of the fact that the leadership over there is horrendous. We're calling for Sherman Hart, Camilla Rowe, my grandson Hassan Cambon, and Perry Dunkley to be brought back to the Reggie to restore some order. So unfortunately, we're back at point A as it pertains to.
So they're doing the Trump thing there.
Or encouraging folks.
So they're initiating the Trump. So they're initiating the Trump approach in terminating people who they don't like or who they think are not blindly loyal.
Absolutely, and it's total chaos over there. And and just being very candid, we've got a circumstance now. Unfortunately, when you look at what's happening, they're talking about Rachel Rollins again in terms of her violation, in terms of her law license. You've got Tompkins, who's getting ready to come back before the feds again to find out where he's going to be going. We've got this brother Turner that we had to get rid of, that was the former director of the piece, and then one of the folks now who's part of management there recently got out of prison for extortion. So I thought we were going to be able to look at the rearview mirror during the time that Jackie Jenkins Scott was there, but we're back at point A right now, and we're asking folks to participate in this boycott.
So, Siddiqui, how do people get in contact with you before we go?
They can call the Black Community Information Center at 617-427-2522.
Okay.
But that's our institution. We got to continue to fight for it.
All right, Siddiqui, so can we, because we got some time next week, can we book you in the 8 o'clock hour next week to come on and talk about it so we can give you enough time?
Yeah, just send me a check. No problem.
I will. I'll do that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that update. Because how long is going to short on time and we got another call we want to grab. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Yes, good morning again. T. Michael from the People's Academy.
Yeah.
Just a quick announcement.
2 minutes, yep.
Wednesday, October 15th, 6 p.m. at Lena Park Community Center, there will be a public forum, candidate forum. It's your voice, it's your city, your future. This is what it's about.
You hear that sound? That's the crickets.
Unfortunately.
A voice, right.
Well, the voice of the people don't need to be silenced. They're doing that themselves.
That's it. You don't need to put a muffle on them. That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Now, I have to say this, and it's very important, because this is a great show, and I'm always listening.
Okay.
I will say this. As we believe, ice is cold and the sun is hot.
Mm-hmm.
To my core, I believe systemically that there's an economic war against black people.
I'll agree.
In Boston and beyond.
Let me just say, this is just started. We go back to when we were pulling ourselves up through the Black Wall Street and everything. So this is not news. It's to us who've been paying attention, right?
And as they say, they keep telling you, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but you ain't got no boots.
Or straps.
Well, brother, the economic war and the black people started the moment that they took us out of the jungles and forced us over here to work in their fields.
Yeah, there was no immigration when they could get free labor, right? Bring as many as they can, and whatever they couldn't, they tossed overboard. So this is where I say we perish from lack of knowledge. T. Michael, I don't know if you've been listening to the broadcast. We've been very supportive with the People's Academy, and the support is overwhelming with the people who understand how it can change people's lives. Sadly, it has been rebuffed by folks who it cannot control it or the narrative or and we're in that same boat. Dr. Bradley was president of MAMLEO, myself. When you bring these issues up, and now they're going to be telling, well, we don't have the money. We do it, but we don't have the funding. But when they had the money, they didn't do it. So it's just
Can
a
I
lot.
touch on that comment right there?
Yep, real quick. Yep.
Yes, the mayor, Mayor Wu, claims that she will not invest into any capital project when it comes to the People's Academy, because she claims that the work that Frank Baker and Marty Walsh did to help us get the land on the corner of Quincy and Warren to build this trade school to benefit the black and brown and etc. and poor community, but she has recently designated $50 million capital money for the Copley Library. Altogether, over $260+ million in capital projects, but cannot put $1 towards training black and brown kids in our community that lives here, votes here, and pays taxes here.
All right.
We have to ask ourselves this question. How much money has already been spent in Chinatown? Do the math. Over
All right.
$400 million.
All right. Wow. Well, like I said, we're going to indulge in this. Matter of fact, we have to get you spending some time with you as well in the upcoming broadcast and give it a whole hour to talk about this. But unfortunately, we have to go. T, thank you. We'll be in touch, and we'll definitely keep putting that information out there. You've been listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO.
And be blessed.
Thank you.
Any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge if your music reflects who you are, then you's a coward. I can see through the lies you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'. You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard, hustle so if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya. No, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the under.